Good day everyone, welcome back. I'm Ganaesh and you're watching the Nightly News. Genes. These are the building blocks of life that have enabled humankind to be what we are today. Genes are the basic physical unit of heredity which is passed on from generation to generation, parents to offspring, which contain the information needed to specify traits expressed in the respective individuals. Gene inheritance is a closely regulated and monitored protocol in biological systems, and it is no surprise seeing as how changes in the gene could lead to multiple differences of traits being expressed. However, with today's day and age, scientists are able to chemically alter these genes to produce either favorable or potentially fatal changes to living organisms. With that being said, there are many new developments and issues stemming from the current developments in gene editing. Some of them include, do we really have the right to alter what is brought forth by natural order? And if so, how far can we push the boundaries of gene editing for the betterment of the next generation? Who gets to decide what forms of gene editing are permissible and what should not be? Are we playing God? To discuss the subject of this topic further, we are going to meet with a few experts in this field who will be interviewed by our journalist, Ms. Bodhi, to explore the issues and misconceptions surrounding gene editing and the dilemmas surrounding it.
Good day, Professor Calvin. Now you are an expert in the field of molecular biology. Can we start off this conversation by explaining to the audience very briefly what gene editing actually is and how it can be done to change humanity and its future forever?
Gene editing is simply the act of changing any particular section of our DNA sequence in our cell which may be malfunctioning, and then disable or repair the mutated part of the gene. Take CRISPR-Cas9 system as an example here. It functions as a molecular scalpel that cuts the DNA at the specific sequence that we desire to make changes in our gene. If you want to, you can even insert new DNA sequence which encoded the gene of possessing a different ability, or even enhancement into these freshly cut sequences to introduce something new to our system. Simply put, think of this as a setup of a pair of scissors, glue, and a strip of paper that you would use in school. I think this is an exciting technology that is going to bring a lot of good to human society and human health. The application of these are very wide, from human therapeutics to agriculture, biofuels, and so on, that we're going to change the future of our world into something incredible.
Thank you, Professor Calvin, for the insight. In light of recent developments of this concept, it has been met by both heavy resistance and support, because we are taking away the opportunity for natural selection to take place in an ecosystem. What is your take on the perception of changing the concept of evolution permanently? Are we bringing about more harm than good?
Evolution, more or less, has been all about the small micro changes of a species or a subset of a species undergo throughout the course of history to increase their chance of survival, to acclimate to change in a particular ecosystem. For instance, the word that we all need to think about here is survival. I believe that at the end of the day, all of our concerns are concentrated on whether or not we can ensure the continuation of human species. To do this, I believe it is necessary to implement this permanent change, as we would call gene editing, because if we're not doing it, we are only prolonging what's to come natural eventually.
Good day, Dr. Qaisara. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Right, the pleasure is mine.
As an experienced bioethicist, right now the topic of gene editing has always been somewhat of a taboo here to those who are not familiar with science. The scientific community faces the constant conflict of whether mankind should truly take up the challenge of changing natural order. Where would your stand be on this issue from ethical perspective? And how would this form of technology play a role in driving the future of medicine?
Well, in terms of stand, are we looking to produce a future generation through eugenics, or perhaps are we looking to play this argument down to the confines of religious perspectives and beliefs? Gene editing by itself, in my opinion, will not pose a threat to either of these ideologies, as we need to understand that the principle of gene editing looks to the betterment of mankind which is what most major faiths drive towards and aims to attain. Keeping this in mind, I do not see gene editing as a violation of nature or etc. For the role of driving the future of medicine, the field of genetic diagnostics has the potential to drastically impact the medical field by giving individuals better access to important medical testing to detect serious diseases. It can be used as a diagnostic tool for detecting infectious and non-infectious diseases using a person's saliva, blood, or urine and any cells that possess our gene encoded within. Besides, gene therapy and treatment-based gene modification has the potential to provide cure to any disease that possesses a genetic basis.
In terms of the long-term economical impact for this technology, what do you think the future is going to look like?
Gene editing very much has the potential to be commercially successful. Despite not having as much access and coverage now, in the future I believe that this technology will be the new version of common enhancement and correction treatments today, like plastic surgery, for example, or laser surgeries that used to be very coveted by the public. In this case, however, instead of changing the external features like your eyesight through correction surgery, we are providing cure and enhancement through genetic modification. This opens up another pathway of enhancing human features which are related to genes.
Interesting. Right. Next, we will be binting up with
Perhaps this is the answer that I'm looking for. Good day, doctor. It's nice to meet you. My name is Tuah, and if you remember, we talked on the phone just now regarding my HIV conditions. I want to discuss with you about the CRISPR-based curative therapy that we spoke of. Doctor, do you think there is any chance of survival for me?
Yes, Tuah, this field of therapy is one that is still very new, and this makes it very difficult one to conduct without much similar experience. But I believe that it could potentially be what you are looking for, which is to cure HIV with a single treatment. EBT-101 is the first CRISPR therapy targeting an integrated virus in humans, and it highlights the potential of CRISPR to cure infectious diseases with a single treatment.
Hello, doctor. It's been a while.
Hi, I was just calling to check on how the procedure went. So, what's next for you?
I'm going to change the world.
Welcome back to the Nightly News. Coming up on our headlines today, the world's first patient with a history of HIV has been successfully cured from the disease with no complications at all. This historical medical revolution changes the future for what would be a disease which has been plaguing the history of mankind throughout past generations, bringing about absolute fatalities with no alternatives. However, stay tuned with us as we are about to find out that this genetically programmed disease is just one among many others that are soon to be historically insignificant to cause death in the near future. How the age of medicine is about to change forever, and how mankind will never be the same again, thanks to the efforts of one young scientist who has also been a test subject for this new form of treatment. Coming up next.